Athens County receives state fundings to curb local crimes. Plus, a look at the aftermath of deadly storms in Iowa. And a new federal platform could provide help for those needing emergency medical treatment. Newswatch starts right now. The Nelsonville Utilities Committee is discussing joining the Southeast Ohio Recycling Terminal Council of Governments. Good evening, I'm Lucy Schaefer. Welcome to Newswatch. Newswatch reporter Allison Patton is at Nelsonville City Hall this evening. Allison?
Hey Lucy, I'm here at Nelsonville City Hall where the Utilities Committee will be discussing joining the Southeast Ohio Recycling Terminal Council of Government, also known as a COG, in a couple of minutes. The COG comes after the City of Athens switched to Rumpke Waste and Recycling last fall. The idea is for local governments to join together to take over trash service from the Athens Hocking Recycling Center. Nelsonville, along with the City of Athens, are considering joining the COG. We'll update you on tonight's discussion tomorrow. Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Allison Patton.
While the Utility Committee discusses entering the COG, a boil order for Nelsonville residents has been extended until Thursday. The Nelsonville Water Department announced an extension to the boil order for all residents on Burr Oak Boulevard from High Street to the U.S. Route 33 overpass, as well as customers on Hillside, Criffield, and Star Drive. Boil orders suggest those in affected areas boil cooking and drinking water for 3 minutes before eating or drinking. The Athens County Sheriff's Office will be receiving new state funds for new technology to help prevent violent crime. Governor Mike DeWine announced $1.8 million of funding to law enforcement agencies in the latest round of Violent Crime Reduction Grant Program. The Sheriff's Office will receive $42,500 to install 10 cameras at hotspots, high traffic areas, and roads leading in and out of the city. The Athens Police Department has joined the annual Click It or Ticket campaign. Between May 20th and June 2nd, the department will be engaged in an enforcement period that encourages drivers to buckle up, and according to State Highway Patrol data in Athens County, seatbelt enforcement is up more than 10% from this time last year. According to Athens Police Chief Nick Magruder, taking part in the campaign creates awareness on the consequences of not wearing a seatbelt. Magruder believes the campaign does a service to the community's young population.
Education portion of it, especially with the younger community, really gets the mindset of how important it is, and also that we expect people to be driving the city ourselves and the community members to be wearing seatbelts.
A Clark County driver convicted of causing a crash resulting in the death of an 11-year-old has been sentenced. Ermaio Joseph received a sentence of 9.5 to 13.5 years in prison after being convicted of first-degree felony involuntary manslaughter and fourth-degree felony vehicular homicide for his role in a deadly crash last August. Joseph's minivan crossed the center line on State Route 41, colliding with a Northwestern local school's bus. 11-year-old Aiden Clark died, and over 20 other children were injured in the incident. The Wood County Sheriff's Office determined that 2 victims of a house fire were dead before it started. The bodies of James Bailey and Felicia Goff were discovered inside a one-story home after fire crews were able to put the fire out. The Sheriff's Office says that it is now conducting a criminal investigation alongside the Wood County Fire Marshal's Office. Any information directed to the Wood County Sheriff's Office can be at the number on your screen.
Looking at weather for today. Today we are expecting a little bit warmer of temperatures out there. Today that temperature high of 85, those thunderstorms that we've been dealing with all day. But as we can see, looking out there right now, Athens is only at 77 as of late. As we look a little bit more north, they are in those more 80-degree temperatures, and you can see in Parkersburg, Newark, Lancaster, they are in those 80s, but Athens today really didn't get past 80. We are just at 79 not that long ago. You can see that on that radar, those thunderstorms that we've been dealing with. Here in Athens, we were hit with those in that early afternoon. In our friends to the south, more like in Huntington, we're having those more severe thunderstorms, having some lightning out there. We were in a slight thunderstorm risk for today, and they really did get the effects of that. As we go a little bit more north, we weren't affected as much, just got that rain in there for today. There is no watches or warnings for the rest of the day today, but that does not mean that that rain is gone for good. We're definitely going to be getting into how this rain will be affecting us, especially into tomorrow and for the rest of the week. Let's take it back over to Lucy.
Tourism, one of Ohio's major economic drivers, is breaking records. At yesterday's Tourism Day celebrations, Governor Mike DeWine announced Ohio's $56 billion revenue from tourism spending in the last year. That's up 16% from 2019. Tourism impacts over 4,000 jobs in Ohio and accounted for an additional $4.6 billion in state and local tax revenue. The Federal Hawking Board of Education is considering putting a new income tax levy before voters. Board of Education President Carrie Sheridan Boyd announced the possibility during last night's board meeting. The district is facing a $1.6 million budget deficit by the 2027 fiscal year. Officials point to less state funding because of a drop in student enrollment and higher insurance premiums. Since 2013, enrollment in the district has gone down from 1,019 students to 831 this year. Superintendent David Hanning says that for now, the district can balance its budget by not replacing outgoing staff.
It's been a very, very long time since they've had a levy on the ballot. I think they're going to want to have a lot of conversations before they make that final decision.
A new program is helping provide students with food assistance during the summer. This SEBT program gives families $120 per eligible child for the summer. Low-income families with school-aged children are encouraged to apply. Households who have already been receiving reduced or free lunches or participate in SNAP, Ohio Works First, or Medicaid benefits will automatically be enrolled. SEBT started as a program during the pandemic to provide funds for school-aged children who normally receive free or reduced lunches at school. To see if you are eligible and submit an application, go to sebt.ohio.gov. While the state is accepting SEBT applications, the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, known as SNAP, took focus at a House hearing today. House Republicans are slated to move on their version of the multi-year funding bill for the nation's food and agriculture, and some Democrats argue GOP proposals will amount to cuts for the SNAP program. Karen Kafa is in Washington with the story.
Members of a House subcommittee Wednesday with different takes on the direction of the Federal Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP. Republican Andy Harris of Maryland eyeing pilot programs that would implement dietary restrictions for recipients.
The SNAP program is solely focused on providing calories rather than nutritious food.
Democrats arguing benefits need to support food costs.
Though it tells poor people what to eat, it does little to address the underlying challenges that we face in fighting hunger.
The hearing as House Republicans look to move on their draft of the $1.5 trillion farm bill, which helps fund federal food and agriculture programs. The SNAP program shaping up as a hot topic in the bill's negotiations. The GOP bill would change the formula by which benefits are determined, a move Democrats have blasted as amounting to a $30 billion cut. The left-leaning research group, the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, said GOP provisions open the door to policing of SNAP recipients' purchases. But proponents of pilots for possible standards for SNAP purchases argue they can improve overall health.
Using SNAP to improve diet quality is a small part of what should be a broader policy approach.
Meanwhile, a new analysis by the think tank the Urban Institute found SNAP benefits failed to cover the rising costs of moderately priced meals in at least 98% of U.S. counties during 2023. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Coming up, your Memorial Day grocery trip could hurt the bank. And home prices are continuing to rise.
We're looking at rain for the next couple of days. When are we going to start seeing that clear up? Next on Newswatch.
Wild water and rock. Ireland is famous for its stunning scenery. One of its greatest natural treasures is a strange world of grey stone called the Burren. The Burren seems lifeless, but look a little closer. some extraordinary survivors clung to life.
Tonight at 8 on WOUB.
We must save our oceans, and we must also feed ourselves. Thankfully, there are people trying to do both.
There's no reason why more people shouldn't have access.
This kind of creative farming is extremely important.
I want you to fish, but I want you to fish smart.
Sustainability is to extend life, not just of the fish, but of us.
Times are changing.
Every nut and bolt, you know its breaking point, but the humans have not been quantified.
I'm here to serve, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow, and so whatever happens, just remember that.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at 39.
You never know what's going to happen if you don't give up.
Holding it together is more exhausting than the disease itself.
You might live.
You have to hunt. If you don't do subsistence activities, you die.
It connects us to our past.
The search for survivors in the aftermath of deadly tornadoes in Iowa continues. Hundreds of first responders across the state are in and around the small city of Greenfield, searching homes and businesses now reduced to piles of rubble after Tuesday's savage storms. Laura Aguirre has the latest.
That's the tornado you're seeing on the ground, folks. It's a pretty violent looking one.
Violent and powerful, carving a deadly and devastating path through the small city of Greenfield, Iowa.
I heard like a train, and then insulation came from the basement, and I knew it was hitting.
As many survivors take stock of what's left, the loss for some families is even greater.
Sadly, we can confirm that there have been fatalities with this tornado.
While search and rescue efforts continue, officials are hesitant to release a death toll, given the massive impact area.
We wouldn't want to give out a wrong number, and we're still assessing.
The governor says a local hospital is one of the buildings damaged. An area school and a lumber yard are now among the sites being used as improvised medical staging areas. And volunteers, in some cases, transporting the injured.
Everybody became little makeshift ambulances. We pulled a guy from the rubble and put him on a little makeshift stretcher that we made, threw him in the back of a truck.
The governor has issued a disaster proclamation for 15 counties and will apply for federal assistance.
We will be putting forth an expedited presidential declaration. We're hoping by no later than tomorrow.
We're a small community, we're a tough community. We will rebuild this community together.
While Iowa focuses on storm recovery, millions of people along a 1,500-mile stretch between Texas and Vermont are watching out for tornado alerts, damaging hail, and high winds through the evening. I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
Rising U.S. home prices are making it more difficult to afford a home, especially for first-time buyers. The median price of a previously owned home in the U.S. grew 5.7% from a year earlier to just over $407,000. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. It was the fourth consecutive money increase and a record for April prices, and the second month in a row of falling sales as mortgage rates surged past 7%. Your Memorial Day cookout will cost a little bit more this year. Ground beef prices are up compared to last year. So just how much can you expect to spend on food? Jen Sullivan crunches the numbers in today's Consumer Watch.
If you're planning on hosting a barbecue this Memorial Day weekend, higher food prices may burn a hole in your wallet. The price of some barbecue basics are higher this year than last year. Expect to pay more for hamburgers. According to the latest data from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the national average of a pound of uncooked ground beef is $5.56. That's about 31 cents higher than last year when prices were at $5.25. So if you want to cook 5 one-pound burgers, that's going to cost you about $28 just for the meat. Steak is seeing the biggest spike in prices. On average, a beef steak will cost you about $10.75 a pound compared to around $9.96 last year. That's a 79-cent increase. Your cheaper options are pork chops, costing roughly $4.24 per pound, and boneless chicken breast, which is about $4.06 per pound. Other summer staples like alcohol will also cost you more. A 16-ounce malt beverage, like beer, is slightly more this year at $1.78. A liter of wine will cost you about 36 cents more this year at $13.66. There is some good news. Milk and egg prices are down from this time last year. For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
Now, Isabel, I normally love Memorial Day weekend. My family and I will get together, go down to the lake, have some burgers. It's a really, really, really fun time. But what's the weather going to be looking like for everybody else with plans?
Yes, these Memorial Day plans, they're going to be a little bit more expensive, and they're looking like they're going to be on the rainy side, especially starting today. Tonight, we're going to be seeing the start of those showers going throughout the week. Tonight, those 70% chance of showers, that'll be hitting us a little bit past midnight, so hopefully you can get in sometime before that rain hits, but don't be too opposed to seeing a couple sprinkles here and there. With those clouds and this humidity that we're having, you might see a sprinkle here and there. That overnight low of 63 going through tonight. Looking at that regional radar, you can see that rain that we were having earlier in the day and how it's going to be continuing into tomorrow. This kind of heap of moisture is going to be making its way up, giving us some more, a little bit less significant with the thunderstorms, but some more rain for tomorrow. If anything, more rain, less thunder for tomorrow. This was today's risk in that slight margin for those thunderstorms, but tomorrow we're looking like less thunder and just a lot more moisture in the air, giving us some more rain. Like I was saying, that this system that was coming through is from those tornadoes that were happening in Iowa, kind of going around in and giving us that rain that we're experiencing now. Looking at tomorrow, 80% chance of showers. Those are going to be starting, like I said, after that midnight hour and then be going into tomorrow morning, kind of dying off by the early afternoon and then really ramping up again tomorrow night. That temperature high, 78, starting to cool down like we did today. It is hard to say cool down whenever we still are in those high 70s, but we are going to have a little bit of a cool down, see some more wind in there with those showers. You can see 12 hours ahead. Tomorrow morning, a little bit scattered showers. We're going to be seeing those blips, those pop-ups. We're not going to be having consistent rain out there for these next couple of days until we're reaching into that Saturday and Sunday. Looking at that thunderstorm risk for tomorrow, all of those, that severe thunderstorm is going to be off and not really affecting us today, for tomorrow. We're going to be having just that rain pretty consistently, just those isolated showers. 36 hours ahead, so on Friday morning, that rain, and then we're going to continue that and see again another kind of system move our way through, looking at Sunday into Monday for those Memorial Day. So if you can get that chance to go outside, make sure that if you see a blip of rain, you can get back outside right before those storms start again. Looking at this weekend, it is going to be a beautiful one if that rain does go away. Let's take it back to Lucy.
Senate Democrats are forcing another vote on the bipartisan border bill that was blocked by Republicans earlier this year, and President Joe Biden is urging GOP congressional leaders to pass it this time. The initial package, which included tough border provisions and foreign aid to U.S. allies, was blocked in February by the Senate. GOP leaders have already says that they have opposed Schumer's vote to revote on the legislation, and some Democrats have spoken out against the standalone border bill as well. Coming up, how kids can stay healthy at home as school wraps up. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
The legacy that you leave is people think of you and what touches their heart to the point that they remember.
We talked about that a lot, like how does this team want to be remembered? And we worked hard to be remembered, differently than everybody else.
If you put your name on someone's heart, that's going to last. Ultimately, that's more important than a championship.
Regardless of your stage of life, whether you're starting your first job, getting the keys to a new home, or enjoying retirement, it's never too early or too late to create an estate plan to care for loved ones and support the causes that are meaningful to you. WOUB Public Media is pleased to have partnered with Giving Dogs, a free resource for building an estate plan that fits your needs and protects the people and causes you care about. Visit WOUB.org and click the support tab to get started today.
Our goal is to make sure that our community isn't invisible anymore.
This is my family and my culture.
It was a revolution to show the Asian American experience.
We brought the example of doing it despite everything.
We have to come out together and raise our voice.
It's important that you see us for who we are.
All Americans are entitled to emergency medical care under federal law, and a new federal platform will keep hospitals accountable. The Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act states that hospitals must receive federal funds, must stabilize or transfer all patients needing emergency care. Any patients who believe they were wrongly turned away can file an EMTLA complaint. In the past, emergency health care complaints were funneled through state agencies. Now, patients who were denied emergency abortions and other emergency care have a web portal to complain directly to the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. Memorial Day weekend is coming up, and as the school year begins to wind down, experts say it's not uncommon for some children to face challenges when it comes to that transition. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on what parents can do to help students settle into summer.
From the classroom to the living room, students will go from being dialed in to letting loose.
Transitions can be challenging, and we want to normalize that. Sometimes we feel like we're doing something wrong, but often it's just that we're going through something hard and you're having a normal response to that.
Jody Baumstein with Children's Healthcare of Atlanta's Strong for Life program says parents can help. First, get ahead of the change by talking about expectations. What do you expect from them this summer? Next, keep an open dialogue. Some may be sad to leave friends, while others may be excited about summer. They can feel more than one emotion, so talk to them.
And it doesn't always just have to be a conversation where you're sitting across from each other. In fact, that can feel intimidating. So maybe it's while you're driving somewhere or you're playing a game. You're just kind of checking in and asking how they're feeling without telling them or putting your own feelings onto them.
Baumstein says maintaining routines can also help with transitions. That means keeping the same bed and wake times and meal times. Finally, she says kids will learn how to navigate change by watching adults.
We're role modeling. That language is important, and having that growth mindset is really powerful for ourselves and also for kids as they're growing and developing their own resilience.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Baumstein says learning how to deal with feelings around change and transition is important and something that children will carry with them into adulthood. A new study finds that fish oil may actually increase your risk of developing heart problems. According to a study released in the journal BMJ Medicine, people without a history of heart disease who regularly took fish oil supplements had a 13% higher risk of developing atrial fibrillation and a 5% greater risk of a stroke. Meanwhile, those with a history of heart disease who took the supplements had a 15% lower risk of progressing to more severe heart problems. Researchers say further studies are needed to determine why. Still ahead, Apple Music's top 10 albums were revealed today. Where did your favorite land? But first, here's a look at what's coming up on your public television station.
I wish the American public understood war the way warriors understand war.
It's not just another job. You're going in a hot area and someone's gonna die. I have never been so full of life.
When we talk about war, we're talking about what it means to be human.
Either I'm gonna live or I'm gonna die. They had put me in a body bag. Thank goodness somebody unzipped it.
Monday at 10 on WOUB.
It's Elvis Presley!
Elvis was a very patriotic fellow. He was more sensitive now to understanding World War II since he wasn't in it and understanding about this story.
Thursday at 10 on WOUB.
Next time on Antiques Roadshow, what's it like to be in the presence of a famous figure?
I was actually right behind Jimi Hendrix's bell bottom there.
So the 70s fashion blocked your head out of this photo.
Exactly.
When I was young and crazy, I was invited to work for her for a while.
They said to me, "Who's your favorite Yankee?" And I said, "Oh, Mickey Mantle." And Mickey Mantle came to speak to me.
Don't miss Antiques Roadshow. I Was There.
Monday at 8 on WOUB.
I am Professor Jasper Tempest.
There have been 4 unexplained sudden deaths in the southeast.
Professor?
Professor? Professor?
My name...
I know who you are.
Jasper has been taken to prison. What was your plan? Truth and justice are not always compatible.
We're just gonna let people die.
There are moves afoot to cut you loose. We shall have to wait and see.
Finally tonight, Lauryn Hill's 1998 album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, tops Apple Music 100 Best Albums list. Michael Jackson's Thriller arrives at number 2, and Abbey Road by the Beatles rounds out number 3. The rest of the top 10 include albums by Prince and the Revolution, Frank Ocean, Stevie Wonder, Kendrick Lamar, Amy Winehouse, Nirvana, and Beyonce. Apple Music says the list was created by experts, artists, songwriters, producers, and industry professionals. They say streaming numbers played no role in the ranking. It's simply the records that have shaped the world music lovers listen and love in. Now, Isabel, I totally agree with that top 3.
Yes.
Thriller by Michael Jackson is one of my all-time favorite albums.
Of course, and he's just iconic, but also having Amy Winehouse up there, I love some Amy Winehouse.
Yeah, so what's your favorite way to listen to music?
I love listening to music, rolling down those windows, listening to it full blast, but recently I really haven't been able to do that because of that rain out there. We've been seeing on that radar currently with those temperatures that we're going to be seeing some spotty rain right now, looking like in Huntington, a little bit of rain in Athens, just a couple sprinkles here and there for the rest of the night. Looking at tonight, most of those storms are going to be happening past that midnight hour, but might have a few pop-ups here and there throughout the night. Looking at that low of 63 with those clouds here and there, hopefully you'll be able to see that full moon that we're having tonight. Looking at tomorrow, that 80% chance of showers, that is going to be hitting us mostly in that AM hour. We're going to be seeing our morning commute a little bit on that rainy side. It's going to be mellowing out just a little bit in that later afternoon and then really kicking back up into the later of the night. That temperature high of 78, still going to be on that warmer side, but a cool down from these last couple days we're having. You can see on that regional that national radar of where that rain is coming from. It is coming from the south, bringing its way up, giving us a little bit of significant rain for tomorrow. And you can see that that is going to be the theme for the rest of the week. We're going to have these chances of these pop-up storms. You're going to be able to get outside just a little bit for Friday, Saturday. There's going to be those just isolated thunderstorms here and there. And then whenever we're looking into Sunday night, into Monday morning, that's whenever it starts getting intense for your Memorial Day weekend.
And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks so much for watching. For Allison Patton and Isabel Isco, I'm Lucy Schaefer. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.
Support comes from BDT.